Good evening everyone. In this tutorial video, I'm going to discuss about the basic properties of cells. You know that the cells broadly categorized into two categories, eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells. The prokaryotic cells are the primitive cells. They are very older cells than the eukaryotic cells, while the eukaryotic cells are the highly complex cells as compared to prokaryotes, because the prokaryotes was the primitive cells, so they don't have too much you know compact complexity inside them. But in eukaryote cells, as the universe evolved, then the cells convert from prokaryotes to eukaryotes, and the eukaryotes having a different complexity or complexity inside them. And that is the things which generally give us idea about evolution, how the evolution is occurring, how the cells are going to complex, from earlier time or to till now. So that is why, as I told you, that the cells are basically broadly categorized into two categories, prokaryote cells and eukaryote cells. So in this tutorial video, I will be discuss about the basic properties of all different types of cells. It doesn't matter they are eukaryotes, prokaryotes, or you know archaebacteria or something like that. But we are going to focus about the basic properties of all these kind of cells. Okay, they can be prokaryote cells or they can be eukaryote cells. All whatever we are going to discuss here, that is basic properties of all cells. So in this, you can see on your screen, there are first point that the cells are highly complex and organized. Of course, the cells is not a simple, the cells is a brick of an human being, or we can say that it is a brick of any organism. Why I'm saying a brick? Because when we want to build a house, so we need a brick to build it. So that is why, if we want to know, if we look to the human body, the whole human body as well as the whole organism, or all the organism whatever are present on the earth, they are made up of cells. So that is why the cells is a basic unit of life. But the cells is too complex. It is not simple. It is very complex, because the cells containing with many organelles, like nucleus. So nucleus containing with the genetic information of the cells, and it also contain with the genetic information of the organism. you know so because the cells nuclear containing with chromosomes, and those chromosomes having these chromosomes are coiled DNA molecule. That DNA molecule containing with the gene, so that gene actually help in the production of protein and many other things, which actually control the all physical, chemical and mechanical expression of the cells. So as we are going to discuss about the complexity of the cells. So of course the cells is very complex, because it having a nucleus, chromosomes, DNA, ribosomes, RNA and mitochondria, chloroplast, ribosomes, lysosomes, of course cilia. Some of the cells having a cilia and flagella. And of course they also have plant cells have a cell wall, fungi also having a cell wall, and bacteria also having a cell wall, but not animal. And so that is the things which actually the cells is not a single or simpler thing. It is composed of many components, like many organelles, like microtubules, as I told you, cell wall, or ribosomes, liposomes, mitochondria, chloroplast, nucleoplasm, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and so many organelles are inside the cells. So they perform different function inside the cells. We will discuss this later or in the separate video. But now we are going to dealing with the properties of the cells. So, and the second statement, you can see on your mobile screen, that the cell possesses a genetic program and mean to use it. And mean to use it, the cells having a nucleus, or the nucleus containing with the genetic information of an organism. Genetic information, as we see in bacteria having a circular DNA. They don't have coiled DNA as the eukaryotes have, because the eukaryotes having a nucleus. So inside the nucleus, the DNA is coiled tightly coiled at form of chromosomes. But in case of bacteria, you will not find chromosomes, but they have DNA that is a circular in nature. They don't have any covering like nucleus in the bacteria, but they have genetic information. That information control the all activity of the cells. The genetic information or the genetics, as all we know that half of the chromosomes but during the gametogenesis, half of the chromosomes you know occur in one single haploid cells. And no so during the fertilization, half of the chromosomes come from the father and half of the chromosomes come from the mother, and they form zygote, and the zygote ultimately go multiple process of division, then it produce a new baby. So that baby will be having similar chromosomes, or that chromosomes will lead to the formation of many of they lead to the formation of organogenesis, and how the child will look, what will be the child eyes color, what will be the child hair color, and what will be the height of the child. So that all the things controlled by the gene. That is why the gene actually genetic information of the cells control all the activity of an organism. And the third point you are seeing here, that is the cell acquire and utilize energy. Of course, the cells require energy, because if we see to the human body at a time, the human body is operating millions of chemical reaction. In some cells of our body, the hormones are synthesizing. In some cells in our body, the enzymes are synthesizing. In some cells of our body, are many chemical are secreting. In some cells of our body, they are absorbing to the biomolecules, and they are there are and some cells in our body is secreting coenzyme, and some cells in our body are going undergo the many process like glycolysis. The glycolysis is actually basically biochemical phenomena, how the glucose enter in the cells, and then the glucose catalyzed. Glucose converted into a 1,6 glucose 1,6 phosphate, then the fructose 1,6 phosphate, and that process end up with the pyruvate, and the pyruvate enter into the Krebs cycles, which is occur in the mitochondria, and then it end up with the another product, and then ultimately the electron passes through the electron transport chain, and they produce many molecule of ATP or energy. So that is why the cells required energy, because cells have to perform. The performance of the cells required energy. As suppose if you are walking in the street, at the time you need to movement your body, you need to move your body. So by doing so, your muscles at the time will consume energy. If you are running in the street, so at the time your muscles required energy to show momentum. That is the important thing. That is why the cells require energy, and cells also produce energy. In case of photosynthesis, they are autotroph. In case of plant, they are autotroph. So by the process of photosynthesis, they produce glucose molecule. That glucose molecule actually very very helpful for all animal kingdom, because the glucose molecule animal kingdom used as a food source. So that is why the glucose molecule is also in a chemical phenomena which is occurring inside the plant cells. That is the third point we covered here. And the fourth point is the cells carry out a variety of chemical reactions. Of course, the cells carry out a variety of reactions. If I took an example of human body, suppose in our human body there are so many glands. They are secreting multiple types of enzymes. Suppose our hypothalamus, thalamus, you know and pituitary, they are releasing many enzyme like oxytocin, cytokinin, and growth hormone, adrenal hormone, thyroid stimulating hormones factor. So all these enzyme are secreting from our body. So that is actually chemical phenomena why this is occurring. And glycogenesis is also a chemical phenomena, which when we glucose enter in our body, and it break down in the presence of oxygen molecule, and produce lots of energy. And of course there are many cells which is synthesizing to multiple types of hormones, such as the in our pancreas, the endocrine part of the pancreas secrete glucagon, insulin, and somatostatin, other kind of hormones. This is basically, all these things is a chemical phenomena. So that is why the or absorption of the biomolecule, whatever you get or whatever you ate. So at the time, what happened, the digestion will be in your intestine, in your gut. Then the digested product or the digestive molecules or biomolecules, maybe carbohydrate, protein, lipids, fats, vitamin, they will be absorbed by your gut cells or by your gastrointestinal cells. So that is why the fourth point is here, that the cells carry out a variety of chemical reactions. And the fifth point is the cells engaged in mechanical activity. Of course, the cells engage in mechanical activity. You can easily find out the plasma mechanical activity in cells. Have you seen, yeah, or I can say that you might have seen amoeba show locomotion to catch its food. So that is actually mechanical activity, whatever the amoeba does, or whatever the amoeba does to catch its prey, or we can say that to catch its food. So and of course, as a human being, when we run, when we walk, so at the time when we speak, so it all these things require mechanical you know engagement of the cells. And the sixth point on my screen is the cells are able to respond to stimulus. Of course, that is a very very important point, as we are discussing about the basic properties of cells. The cells are able to respond to stimuli. In case of any cells, if I talk about let's take an example of human body. And in our body, there is the immune system. So once they found if the cells, if the cells found any threat from the surrounding environment, they will activate your immune system, and the immune system will respond to it. The immune system also made up of cells. And another thing, you have a well developed nervous system. There, if there is any changes in the surrounding environment, or if there any changing in the temperature surrounding, so you can get an idea, oh, today is very hot, today is very cold. Why? Because of cells having a power to get a stimulus from the surrounding and respond to it. This phenomena is not occurring from the environment. It also occur in internal. Suppose in your thalamus, or hypothalamus, sorry, hypothalamus. When the blood goes to the hypothalamus sends that blood glucose. Once it says, oh, there is a less amount of glucose in your blood, so what hypothalamus does, hypothalamus start alarming to your body to eat something. When you eat, then your glucose level again will be rise. So that is the thing, that how the hypothalamus, which is also made up of cells, hypothalamus also made up of cells now. So that is why the hypothalamus sense, oh, the blood glucose level is going to down. So at that time, you need to rise your blood glucose level to get energy or to produce energy in your body. So the hypothalamus respond to it, to you, or the hypothalamus respond to your body to eat something. That is why all the cells are able to respond to stimuli. That's the basic phenomena. And another point on my screen is the cells are able to regulate self regulation. Thus capable of self regulation. Or of course, as I told you, the cells are able to self regulation. They can maintain their own self regulation, as we see in case of the plants, reproductive parts of the plants containing with female, and the male and female part, the part produce pollen grain, which is actually a cells. And if the female part containing with the ovary having a ovules inside them, so the ovule also containing with the cells. So these two are the when the pollen grain fertilized to ovary, or when the pollen grain actually enter into inside the ovary, so they fertilize the ovule, and they they produce seeds, and and fruits. So seeds basically is a small embryo of the plant, so they are capable, we can say they are capable of self regulation, as we see in case of human germ cell. Basically germ cells undergo the meiosis division, and they produce haploid reproductive, so we can say that gamete, so gamete, so haploid gamete or the haploid cells. So these haploid cells actually are capable of self regulation. So that is the point we discuss here. And now there is another important thing which I want to share with you, that as you are saying to slide that the life is the most basic properties of cells. Of course, the life is the most basic properties of cells, because all the living world, whatever you are saying on the earth, whether they are bacteria, whether they are archaeobacteria, cyanobacteria, whether they are animal, plants, and whatever the living world you are saying, that is also, that all are made up of cells only. Okay. And there another thing which I want to share to you, that the cells can grow and reproduce in culture for extended period. Of course the cells can be grow in culture medium. you know one of the George K in 1951, he was the scientist. He isolated the cancer cells from the cancer patients, and he cultured those cells into a laboratory. And the culture of cells is actually basic, or I can say that is a essential tool for cell biologist. When we study about the plant tissue culture, at the time you took small pieces of plant, or if you took a small pieces of any part of the plant, maybe leaf, maybe primordial, maybe stem part, or from any other part of the plants. So you can easily culture it into the laboratory condition, or into the aseptic condition. So that is the important thing. So as I discussed, the cells are highly complex and organized because they are containing with many organelles inside them, and they perform same they perform each and everything inside your cells. As I told you that the cells containing with the nucleus having a chromosomes containing with the genetic information. So genetic information basically genes which control all the expression of the cells. The expression may be physical, maybe mechanical, or maybe chemical. So all the expression controlled by the gene. And the second important thing are the organelle, like mitochondria, which is called powerhouse of the cells, which because it generate lots of energy by breakdown of glucose molecule and produces at ATP. So as endoplasmic reticulum, there are two type of rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, that is also help in the synthesis of protein. We will discuss it later, and they also perform many function. And of course, if you see whole the living world, you will find cells. So cells, all the cells are similar because they are having same kind of organelle inside them, but structurally may be different. Suppose if you see the neuron cells structure will be different from your intestinal cells. So that is the difference, but all the cells having a same component inside them. Of course there may be variation in components also. Suppose when we look to the bacteria, the bacteria doesn't have many organelles inside them, like you know they don't have many organelles inside them as compared to uh, as compared to uh, eukaryotic cells. So we will discuss it later, not now. And of course, as I told you, that the basic properties of cells is genetic program, and it means to use it genetic, all the expression of the cells is showing by the gene. And the fourth property we have discussed, that the cells are capable of producing more of themselves. Of course the cells are undergo the division, and that produce daughter cells. So maybe if they undergo the mitotic division, they will produce two daughter cells, or each daughter cells having a same set of chromosomes, or we can say that they are having a same number of chromosomes. But if the if the meiosis division will be in germ cells, so what will happen there? There will be, having single set of chromosomes, or they will produce haploid cells by the meiosis division. So of course the cells having a power of self, producing more cells. So, and the fourth point we have discussed, that cells acquire and utilize energy. Of course, photosynthesis provide food for all living organisms. Animal cells derive energy from products of photosynthesis, mainly in the form of glucose. Of course, the cells can convert glucose into ATP, as we discussed. Okay, that the glucose molecule, when it enters into the cells undergo the glycolysis, Krebs cycles, and then finally end up with the electron transport chain. So by doing so, it produces ATP molecule, that is a very very essential molecule for the body, you know. And also we discuss about the properties of cells, like respond to stimuli. As all we know that all cells having a, having a power to response of stimulus. So as you know, once the sunlight start falling on the leaves, the leaf will be excited, and at the time they will produce, they will undergo the light reaction of the photosynthesis, and they will produce ATP or NADPH. So so that is why they are actually, sensing, or they are getting a stimulus from the, light, or they are operating a light reaction inside the plant leaf. So that is a thing which I want to explain you, that the cells are able to respond to stimuli. And of course we cover that cells are capable of self regulations, and of course the one cells are divided into the two cells, and the two cells are called daughter cells, and their daughter cells, if the germ cells will be there, so they will produce a new organism. So that is why the cells are able to self regulation. So broadly we fundamentally different classes of cells, suppose there are two main classes of cells, as I told you. But broadly these are the cells are classified into the two category: prokaryote cells and eukaryote cells. But whatever we have discussed here, that the or that was the basic of all cells. It doesn't matter that the cells is eukaryotes or prokaryote cells. All the cells do that basic function which we discussed here. So thank you so much guys. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel, and hit the like button, so I will be more confident to make more video on cell biology as well as the other part of biology. Thank you so much.